Hello and welcome. Today let's take Dark Knight through Dohn Mehg. So I've prepared the party list already, so going straight in. So the last time I used Dark Knight, took it through Holdings the Switch, which seemed to go okay, I think. I've forgotten already. And then Bosgen, what's it called again? Bosgen Southern Front just got released, so I've been using that with the Dark Knight to level the Dark Knight, and I'm level 76 already. But still, I'm in this 73 dungeon because I haven't done it on Dark Knight, and this should be interesting. Don't know if my game sound is a bit loud there, just turning it down. Right. So the Bosgen front is interesting in the sense that it upsyncs your level. So even though I'm only level 70 whatever, it lets you use all the level 80 skills, so that's why everything's on my toolbar now. Doesn't mean I know how to use any of it, but I have it. My impressions of Dark Knight so far, bearing in mind, you know, I'm not an expert by any means, is it does seem a lot more interesting compared to other tank classes. I think it's just the... I don't want to use a phrase, but DPS rotation, let's call it. I quite like. Because I didn't like Warriors. Gunbreaker's okay, but just a few more buttons than I like to press. So this is you know, a reasonably small cluster of buttons to manage. I'm still not using cooldowns, am I? That's not going to change too much. I hope my trust will forgive me on that. Who have I got today? Alphanode, Reen, and... is it Stola? Yep. I think I had to choose them specifically because the others I was using last time in Holdings the Switch still aren't leveled enough. And I've always got... my brain's freezing up now. Kitty Boy. What's his name again? Half of fandom is just now destroying me. Grahatia. How can I forget his name? You know, he's a good, shall we say, fallback choice. I don't mean that in a negative way, but they give him to you at max level, so you can use him pretty much for all of it. But I have to level everyone else first. My favourite bit. I love these things. Why can't my garden have these? Although, can you recess them after every time anyone walks up and down a path? That could be more difficult. Yeah, trying to put it back in again. So anyway, this is obviously continuing my plan to get every class up to level 80. I think Dark Knight is 76 now, so I could also do the next dungeon as well, the 75 one. Is that Kitano Ravel, or was that the 77? I can't remember already. It'll happen when it happens. But I've been slacking on the Bosgen front. I'm only rank 7. So everyone else is already raiding the Castrum, and I'm sort of like look for group in the middle area still. So I need to catch up there. I should use more of the skills, shouldn't I? I'm being lazy. Like, I haven't pushed that button at all yet. I need to learn the name. Salted Earth. So that's the dark circly thing on the ground that does damage. I haven't used that button yet, which lights up these buttons. I know all the names. Oh, and I wasn't supposed to go there, I was going to go here. I'm that good. Push button first, panic later. Right, let's use that button. Because that lets you spam these buttons for a certain amount of time. So that'll help a little bit. I can mix it in with all the usual stuff as well. Is there anything more I can do than just spam AoEs? So this is a bit repetitive at the moment. You know, I'm in a comfortable place, I'm not in danger of dying, I don't have to run around. But there's not an awful lot to do. Last night I joined a healer only copied factory run. That was interesting. No one was really in much danger of... We weren't in danger of wiping at any point. But the problem was the DPS was not the best, everyone being a healer. So it took a while. And I've only got one healer at level 80, which is Scholar. And I have no idea how to play Scholar. Because of the tied leveling system, I basically got Scholar for free when I leveled Summoner. And I can't remember how to play Summoner either, so that wouldn't have helped. So pretty much most of the time all I did was the just make sure I got the damage over time out as required. Oh, it's the dodgy bit, isn't it? I hate this bit. Yeah, just cast the main damage skill and... Alpha Node, are you standing in that puddle? Damn, Sholo nearly got wiped. Yeah, if it wasn't for Summoner and Scholar being linked in level progression, I probably wouldn't have got Scholar at all to 80. I wouldn't have any healer at 80. And the only times I actually played Scholar in the past were the job quest. And somehow I just about managed to muddle my way through those. The thing about the job quest is they're not really designed to test your healing, let's put it that way. I mean, that's not to say you don't have to heal in a job quest, but it's not the prime focus. It's still somewhat DPS led. I hate the dodging things. It's not difficult, it's just annoying. Although you can still mess up. Try my best not to. Right, Stola's not going to die this time. Yeah, she still seems okay. Between the boss gym front and maybe a few trust runs, it probably won't take me that long to get Dark Knight to level 80. Tank wise, that only leaves me with Paladin, which I think, I can't remember now, it's level 60 or not far from that. So I can't take Paladin through boss gym front yet, because I think, I'm not sure if it's 70 or 71 you have to be. But I'm not quite there yet, either way. More circles of doom. Puddles of doom even. They're circular, but you know what I mean. That's probably okay. Where am I going next? Not anywhere near those, preferably. Just come on, finish him. 2%. Oh, before we go through there, Something I never remember to do normally. Oh, that'll do. I never have a thumbnail for the screenshot. Show self only. Right. Ooh, what was that? I don't want it, whatever it was. Right, that's done. Moving on. Yeah, I'm still looking for a good way to level between 60 and 70 because I feel that's the slowest part. Because at 50s you have the Squadron Dungeon still, and not too horrible on the XP. 60 to 70 I've only really got the Daily Beast Tribes, and if I feel like it, maybe the Daily Hunt. So it's not the Hunt Train, but the sort of like the zone specific ones. 70 plus, we have the Trust and we have the Daily Hunts again, but the Beast Tribes seem to pay a lot more experience relative to the level. So Healer is going to be... It's still going to be the biggest challenge for me, I think. But I'll probably finish Tank first. The trouble with Healer doing the Daily Beast Tribe is the same problem as we had in Copy Factory yesterday, which is the DPS is a bit low. So if it's a kill something one, it takes a bit of time. I probably do need cooldowns on this one, and I do need to dodge stuff now and then. I don't know if I'm being blind, but if I'm not mistaken, Dark Knight does not have a self-heal. I don't know if all the other tank classes have one now, without going back and checking, but I did find myself in many situations where I go like, where's the heal button? Oh, there isn't one. Unless I'm just totally blind and missed it. It doesn't have to be a big heal, just any little heal will be better than nothing. Here we go again. Probably should use a cooldown. Let's use the Salty Earth. If I'm not saying a lot, there's just not a lot to say at the moment. Maybe I should go on to other random topics. What else is happening recently? We had the AMD Zen 3 announced, which was interesting in a Chinese proverb sense of the word interesting. May you live in interesting times. And we certainly are living in interesting times in general. I was thinking about getting Zen 3 before the announce for my next gaming build. Now that we've had the initial information, I'm not feeling it. Not because it's a bad product, but because it's not the price I was hoping it's at. So they promised, I can't remember the number now, 19% IPC uplift, possibly clocks in a, we don't know if they're higher or not yet, they haven't disclosed that information. Unified CCX, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it, but it's a good thing. Basically, it's everything I was hoping it would be, except for the price. At the moment, my gaming system that I'm using right now, it's a 6-core Intel CPU, the 8086K, and it served me well, it's fine. But if I'm going to build a new system, I want something better. So the logical step up is to go to an 8-core, and with the next gen consoles that are about to hit the shops also being 8-core, 8 Zen 2 cores even, you know, that might be more important for gaming going forwards. It's not a requirement now, but just to be keeping up, shall we say. They're still good enough, and they're still best, and then there's like best of best. But if I want to be not falling behind the curve, you know, if the console's got more CPU power than my desktop, you know, PC master race and all that, I need a upgrade. Well, I don't need, I want an upgrade. It's not a need, let's be honest. So anyway, what are my choices? I could buy an older Intel 8-core CPU. I already own a system with an 8-core Zen 2 CPU. Or I could buy the Zen 3 CPU with 8 cores. Those are my main options really. If I upgrade an Intel system, I already have everything apart from the CPU. So it's the cost there is only the CPU cost. If I buy Zen 3, I really need a new motherboard. None of my current motherboards will support a Zen 3 CPU. Yet. One of them might with a BIOS update, but because it's an older chipset, they're not expected to have that update out until early next year. So that's going to be too far away, I think. And the other option, which doesn't cost any money, is to reuse my Zen 2 system. And in the end, at the end of the day, that's the option I've picked. It's a 3700X, which I bought at Zen 2 launch, or near enough, within days of it. It's 8 cores, it's probably fast enough going ahead. I mean, it's going to be no worse than the consoles. The consoles are 8-core Zen 2. I will have 8 cores at Zen 2. So that'll be keeping up a bit. I should help these out, shouldn't I? Which one are you grabbing? So why not buy the superior Zen 3? Price. So the only 8-core model they're offering to start with is the 58, is it the 5800X? And it's going to go for $400 US, which means it's going to be, I don't know the exact number, high £300. It's probably going to be a little bit less than £400. I don't know the exact number because that's just going by how they usually do it in the past. Just take the dollar amount and change the unit to pounds at a first level. Although they seem to be getting a bit closer to the exchange rate now, considering taxes. So the pound numerical value is a bit less than the US dollar numerical value, generally speaking now. So it's going to be high £300 for the CPU alone. I want a new motherboard. Motherboard pricing has gone up in the last few years as well. 3 to 5 years. I'm not entirely sure when it happened. I remember when £100 would get you a decent board. Now £100 will barely get you the entry level board. It's a bit annoying. So if you want a decent board, you're looking at 150, 200-ish. And so basically, if I want to go Zen 3, I'd have to spend £500 and upwards. And I'm thinking, it's great, but I don't need it that badly to want to spend that money, especially because right now I don't have any notable income. So spending 500 quid on something I don't need is not the best financial decision. Especially when I have parts bought when I did have more money that are still decently adequate. Decently adequate. You know what I mean. I'm not aiming to have best of best. I'm aiming to have a high level of performance. And I'm not in the most hurry anyway because no one can buy the GPUs. I am of course talking about the Nvidia 30 series Ampere. At least I say Ampere, and I think that's the correct way. I do have an electrical background. And I have noticed people who do not have such background are saying something like Ampere as opposed to Ampere. And then of course I start wondering, am I saying it right after all? Oh, come on. Come back here. But anyway, it is the next GPU I want to buy, and I would say even, again, maybe I should not overthink the wording. It's not a need, but it's the logical upgrade that I do want to get. I have an LG TV, it supports G-Sync, so that puts me in the Nvidia ecosystem. I'm also used to the Nvidia software stack. The 3080 should give decent 4K gaming performance, which would help a lot on my TV. At the moment I'm using my desktop, which has a 1080 Ti. My gaming system, my TV gaming system, has a 2070 at the moment. So I'm looking for a little bit more performance there. Haven't decided what would go where yet, but the 3080 would eventually drive the TV. And I'll probably move the 2070 in place of the 1080 Ti, which is and isn't a performance downgrade. It's a downgrade for performance if you ignore the feature set. So if you don't care about ray tracing and all that, it will be a downgrade in performance, but the 2070 will have that capability where the 1080 Ti doesn't. I mean, you know, I don't think I have any games that support ray tracing. Not that I play anyway, but it is the future. And I don't think I'm going to move away from a, you know, 2 gaming system setup. So have the TV gaming system, sit on a sofa, more comfortable. But there's limitations on that setup, which is I only have the one display. So I can't multitask as much. I mean, I sometimes balance the laptop on the arm of the sofa next to me, but it's not the same. And then I got this, which is my main, I still consider it my main gaming setup. It's high performance. Well, it's not high performance. How do I describe it? It's a different performance. That's the best way, I think. because I've got a 1440p high refresh rate monitor on it, so it's a lot easier to drive anyway. It doesn't need so much GPU performance compared to the 4K TV. I don't need 144Hz for Final Fantasy XIV or City Skylines or Genshin Impact. So basically, yeah, the games I'm playing anyway aren't ones that benefit massively from insane frame rates. Once it's good enough, it's good enough. And for me, I would say, you know, I consider 60A usable minimum. But if it's like much above 60, it's fine. I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV right now at 72 frames a second. It's locked. I think I've got it set to 144Hz on the monitor, and then the half FPS sync on the game engine. Hence it's locked at 72 frames a second. And you might be wondering, I have all this hardware, why am I limiting myself to 72 frames a second? Because that is the sweet spot for me. If I run it any higher, it gets slightly smoother, but it doesn't really add to my experience. And it has one other downside, which is the system gets relatively hot and noisy. So it's actually quite helpful to limit. You don't have to run your system at full performance, you just have to run it at good enough performance. It cuts down on the heat production, cuts down on the noise, saves a bit of power usage. Although, having said that, it's getting a bit cooler now, so I wouldn't mind a bit more heating actually. Or I could pop a jumper on. But yeah, I'm in the process of rebuilding the gaming system now. So I'm using an old motherboard, I'm using an old CPU. We weren't actually paired together yet. The trouble is, the motherboards I have are older generation, and I'm wondering if that is contributing to some instabilities I'm seeing when I was running it. I've got to concentrate on this, don't want to fall off. That would just waste so much time. I might cause a wipe. Where was I? Yep. So it's a Zen 2 system, 3700X. I'm using a B450M motherboard. It will eventually have the 3080 in it when I can buy one. Right now I'm just using a 1060 to allow me to do software installation and such. I bought a 1TB M.2 SSD NVMe, which is the Crucial P1. I'm going to spout a load of numbers now, don't worry if you don't know what they are, but I believe it's the Crucial equivalent to the Intel 660p, which is QLC NAND. It's cheap, but it's not considered high performance, but it's still high enough performance. Run. And when shopping on Prime Day, I did see a... which one was it? Crucial MX500 1TB SATA SSD, and that was... I bought that as well because it was cheap and just to give more storage. Because 1TB should be enough for any games I'm playing, but if I'm also going to do video recording on it, which I might, or need some more storage, you know, a bit more storage wouldn't hurt. And the motherboard I'm reusing is ITX, so I can't actually put more expansion slots in. I can't put another M.2 in other than the one that's already on there. So any other storage would either have to go external or go SATA. And on that note, it seems to be a very English or British English UK English, whatever English speaking people seem to say SATA, whereas I think the more American pronunciation might be SATA. It's still decent enough performance, but I wanted one NVMe drive in the system because RTX IO might become important in the future within the lifespan of that system. So on that note, I think my current system I've been running for, my current main gaming system, the desktop gaming system, I've been running for about, in its current form, in about 2 years plus, I think, whenever the 8086 came out. So we're looking at that sort of era. But anyway, there we are. One dungeon run of Dohn Mehg completed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.